The film begins by introducing us to three different married couples. First up is Antonio and Anna, who are getting ready to join their friends for a dinner outing. It's clear that they're facing some challenges in their relationship. In the bathroom, Antonio secretly exchanges text messages with someone, while Anna appears engrossed in her phone, even removing her underwear without a clear reason. Next, we shift our focus to Eduardo and Blanca, the second couple, who have recently become newlyweds and can't seem to get enough of each other. Their affectionate behavior is on full display. Finally, we find therapist Eva and surgeon Alfonso in another house. They seem a bit older than the first two couples and are busy preparing dinner because they are hosting the evening's gathering. Their parenting approaches diverge when it comes to their 17-year-old daughter, Sophia. This difference becomes pronounced after Eva discovers condoms in Sophia's bag. Eva and Sophia's mother-daughter relationship becomes tense, with Eva advocating for a more restrictive approach. In contrast, Alfonso believes Sophia should have the freedom to explore, leading to a conflict of perspectives on raising their daughter. In the subsequent scene, we discover that these three pairs of friends share a strong bond. They collectively decide to host a gathering, anticipating a delightful evening while witnessing the lunar eclipse, brimming with enjoyment, affection, and perhaps a few unexpected moments. Antonio and Anna are the first to arrive at Eva and Alfonso's residence, bearing a home-cooked meal as their contribution. Shortly thereafter, Eduardo and Blanca join the gathering. The couples assemble, savoring some wine, and Eduardo can't help but be captivated by the elegance of Eva's earrings. They inquire about their seventh friend, Pepe, and are particularly intrigued by his new girlfriend, Lucilla, eager to make her acquaintance, believing Pepe to be quite fortunate. However, their enthusiasm dwindles when Pepe arrives solo, explaining that Lucilla can't attend due to a fever. After some conversation about Pepe's girlfriend, they all gather around for dinner. During dinner, they engage in diverse topics, including their occasional difficulties in understanding one another. They also delve into the complications arising from a text message on someone's phone, wreaking havoc on a woman's life as she discovers her husband's infidelity, leading to a crumbling family. Opinions diverge. Some couples place blame on the woman for checking her husband's phone, while others fault the man for not being more discreet, suggesting he should have deleted the incriminating message. This debate prompts Eva to play the role of therapist, with Eduardo chiming in that mobile phones are akin to small black boxes harboring life's darkest secrets, powerful enough to dismantle marriages. Anna agrees with Eva's perspective and mentions that her husband, Antonio, never reveals his phone to her, even taking it into the bathroom. Upon hearing this, Antonio is determined to prove his transparency, placing his phone on the table. The group rallies behind him, affirming their status as close friends with no hidden secrets among them. Moments later, as the atmosphere starts to feel a bit dull, Blanca decides to inject some excitement into the gathering. She proposes a game. Everyone must place their mobile phones on the dining room table, and while they dine, any incoming messages or calls must be shared with the group. Initially, there's some hesitation, but in the spirit of demonstrating their transparency, they eventually agree and set their phones on the table. Just as they're about to resume their meal, a sudden gust of wind rushes through the house, knocking a vase to the floor and causing a bit of chaos. Outside, dogs begin to bark and quarrel, and they notice the lunar eclipse beginning to take shape, along with an accident occurring on the street below. All at once, everyone becomes a little frenzied. Afterward, they return to the dinner table, and not long after, Eva and Alfonso's daughter Sophia makes an appearance, greeting everyone before pulling her dad aside. She requests some money, and then heads off to her friend's party. At that very moment, Eduardo receives a flirtatious text from an unknown number, surprising his wife, Blanca, as the message reads, "I desire your body." This sparks a heated argument between Eduardo and Blanca, and to make matters worse, Eduardo's phone rings, displaying the unknown number. Under pressure, Eduardo answers, only to discover that the message and call are actually from Alfonso, who was just attempting to play a prank on him. With that misunderstanding cleared up, they decide to continue the game. Initially, everyone is in high spirits, teasing each other and engaging in friendly banter. However, in the midst of it all, Eva receives a call from her father, and she's obliged to put it on speaker. Her father drops a bombshell, revealing that Eva is planning to undergo a breast enlargement, essentially a cosmetic procedure. Everyone is taken aback, unable to believe the revelation. Blanca expresses the view that, as a therapist herself, Eva should embrace her body as it is and promote self-acceptance in others. Some of the couples inquire why Eva didn't involve her husband in this decision, bringing their personal issues to the forefront. Alfonso then discloses that Eva's father doesn't have a favorable opinion of him and considers him a subpar surgeon. Alfonso insists that Eva's father wants only the best for his daughter, further complicating the situation. After a while, Antonio and Pepe step outside for a smoke and catch sight of a partial lunar eclipse. Antonio asserts that such an eclipse is a harbinger of something ominous, citing Mayan beliefs that it disrupts time and leads to inexplicable occurrences. The conversation takes a turn when Antonio confides in Pepe, revealing that he has a female friend who sends explicit pictures every night at 10 o'clock. He worries about Ana discovering this and seeks Pepe's assistance in managing the situation. Antonio proposes a phone swap since they both have the same brand. However, Pepe isn't thrilled because he'd still receive the explicit photo, despite Antonio's reassurance that it wouldn't matter since Pepe is single. Despite Antonio's heartfelt request, Pepe appears hesitant and heads inside. Later, the group reconvenes at the dinner table, and a flurry of texts, messages, and calls inundates them. In the midst of it all, Ana accidentally spills wine on Alfonso, diverting everyone's attention to the mishap. Seizing the opportunity, Antonio discreetly exchanges his phone with Pepe's, a move unnoticed by everyone, including Pepe himself. Shortly after, Pepe's substituted phone receives a notification, and as anticipated, he receives the explicit photo from Antonio's friend on WhatsApp. Now that Pepe is aware of Antonio's prank, he has no choice but to play along, pretending the picture is meant for him. They all share a good laugh and tease Pepe mercilessly, oblivious to the fact that it's not even his phone. Next, Pepe's original phone, which is now in Antonio's possession, vibrates, and he receives a message from someone named Lucio simply inquiring about his well-being. This message causes Pepe to become extremely anxious and agitated, while Antonio explains that Lucio is a colleague from his workplace. When Antonio is instructed to respond immediately, Pepe suddenly launches into a tirade about how these smartphones are intruding on their privacy and disrupting their lives. Pepe's abrupt outburst takes everyone by surprise. Ultimately, they collectively decide not to reply to Lucio's message. Shortly thereafter, Eva receives a message offering services and discounts from a retirement community for elderly individuals. Antonio feels hurt by this because his aging mother resides with their household. He acknowledges that his mom can be difficult occasionally, but he has no intention of relocating her to an assisted living facility. To brighten the atmosphere, all the couples collectively opt to observe the total lunar eclipse from the balcony. They relish the splendid scenery for a bit and opt to capture a group photograph using Blanca's phone. Alfonso doesn't even manage to change his shirt in time, and oddly, after Blanca takes their photo, everyone in the image mysteriously disappears. Regrettably, just as they're about to take a second picture, Blanca receives text messages from her former partner, triggering Eduardo's irritation and fueling his feelings of jealousy. Before tensions escalate further, Blanca manages to soothe Eduardo's concerns by explaining that her ex is currently in another relationship and seeks her advice. In the end, Antonio playfully suggests that Blanca should provide her ex with Eva's phone number, joking that he might need a therapist instead of an ex-girlfriend. Following this, Sofia contacts her dad, Alfonso, and inadvertently reveals that it was Alfonso who provided her with those words of wisdom earlier. She shares that Alfonso has been counseling her to always make the right decisions and be cautious of potential troublemakers. Hearing about Alfonso's approach in handling his headstrong daughter through reverse psychology, even Eva gains some insights as Sofia mentions that Eva doesn't usually listen to her. Next, Antonio receives another text from Lucio on Pepe's phone. This time, being the one with the phone, Antonio decides to respond, informing Lucio that he's at a party with his friends. However, things take an unexpected turn when Lucio makes a phone call, and Antonio is compelled to answer it. Lucio suddenly becomes agitated, insisting that they are in a romantic relationship. This declaration shocks everyone, leading them to speculate about Antonio's sexuality, unaware that the phone actually belongs to Pepe. Antonio attempts to ease the tension by explaining that he and Lucio are co-workers, and Lucio developed feelings for him despite Antonio's attempts to reject him. During his explanation, Antonio's gaze inadvertently shifts toward Pepe, creating further confusion. At that moment, Lucio sends another text message, this time sounding even more desperate, stating, "I miss your kisses." This message upsets Antonio's wife, Anna, and his friend Eduardo. Eduardo's discomfort arises from the fact that he and Antonio were close friends during their teenage years, sharing close quarters and even showers, all the while unaware of Antonio's sexual orientation. Tensions in the room escalate until Eduardo's phone rings. It's a man on the line, inquiring if Eduardo's significant other liked the earrings he sent. Eduardo tries to evade the conversation, but it's too late. Everyone has already overheard it. This revelation leaves Blanca astonished because she never wears earrings and doesn't even have pierced ears. Alfonso, upon hearing this, scrutinizes Eva's earrings, which she wears despite Alfonso never having given them to her. He becomes aware of something amiss happening behind him. Amidst their intense argument, Eduardo's phone illuminates once more, displaying the name Lola. Acting swiftly, Blanca seizes the phone, and at this point, the story takes a dramatic turn. Lola discloses that she is pregnant with Eduardo's child. Upon learning this shocking news, Blanca is devastated and in a state of disbelief, retreating to the bathroom and locking herself inside. Suddenly, Eva takes Eduardo aside to a separate room, removes her earrings, and returns them to him. It's revealed that they have been engaged in a clandestine affair, and it was Eva for whom Eduardo purchased the earrings. Meanwhile, Antonio proceeds to the living room to check Anna's phone. Upon realizing his actions, Anna approaches him immediately. To her surprise, Antonio informs her that a guy on her Facebook inquired if she had removed her panties. Anna clarifies that it's merely an online acquaintance, and that this Facebook friend is a random person she barely knows and has never met. In a fit of anger, Antonio demands to know if she is wearing any panties, and compels Anna to remove her skirt. Anna initially refuses, and a chase ensues throughout the house. Ultimately, she decides to comply with Antonio's demand, revealing to all the couples that she is wearing nothing beneath her skirt that evening. Afterward, she departs while mocking Antonio's supposed homosexuality on her way out. It's at this juncture that Pepe finally comes clean, disclosing that he is the one who is homosexual, not Antonio. Pepe proceeds to share the truth about Antonio coercing him into swapping phones. He explains that he'll never introduce Lucio, whom he had misled everyone into believing was Lucilla, because he fears their peculiar reactions and behavior might harm Lucio. Later on, Blanca emerges from the bathroom, commending the game for its effectiveness in clarifying things. She then removes her wedding ring and departs. At this moment, Alfonso remains infuriated about what Eduardo did to his wife. He delivers a resounding slap across Eduardo's face, issuing a stern warning not to return or face dire consequences. Alfonso then informs Eva that he's heading to bed, and both Antonio and Pepe depart for the night. Moments later, Eva, burdened by guilt for allowing the game to unfold in her home, steps out onto the balcony, where the full blood moon eclipse is visible. It's at this moment that she decides to cast away the source of their problems onto the road below. Suddenly, a gusty wind returns, battering her house. After the wind subsides, she rises and notices that the moon has completely emerged from the eclipse, shining brightly in the sky. Puzzled, Eva re-enters the house and closes the door. To her astonishment, she finds her husband and all her friends have reappeared, seated and enjoying their dinner as if nothing had transpired. Eva takes a seat beside her husband and checks his shirt, only to discover that it's clean, with no trace of the previously spilled wine. Eva is left utterly perplexed by the situation, as it seems like nothing had previously gone awry, until Pepe proposes playing the phone game again. Concerned that the earlier tragedy might repeat itself, Eva informs the couples that she dropped her phone on the street below. However, they all believe Eva is acting strangely due to her phone issues. Pepe intervenes, asserting that they will not play the game, insisting it's an all-or-nothing decision. Unbeknownst to them, Eva is immensely grateful to have a chance to mend the bonds of their fractured friendships after the incident that nearly tore them apart. And that's where the movie concludes. Life, with its enigmas and concealed truths, continues as usual, hidden beneath the surface.